People don't like talking about race in the United States. It makes them uncomfortable. And depending on what circles you run in, it can even be considered an impolite topic of conversation. But here's the thing. Race and racism are as core to the making of the United States as capitalism and democracy. So welcome back. This video is on the subject of race, and it's part of a series that I'm creating called Forbidden Curriculum, which talks about why they want to ban ethnic studies so bad. It's because the knowledge is dangerous. And that is exactly why we need it, need to know it, and need to understand how to talk about it. When your ethnic studies professors tell you that race is a social construct, that means that it's not biological. It's created, defined, and maintained by society, by social structures. And racism is about what happens when those social definitions get embedded into law, into policies, and into institutions. You want to know something really messed up? The founding fathers, they were super sketchy about letting poor and uneducated people vote. They made it the law that only property-owning white men could vote. Of course, they needed to pass a literacy test in order to be able to cast a ballot. And through the Naturalization Act of 1790, they legally crafted what we understand today to be whiteness. Whiteness was a promise. It was a way to let people know that even if you're poor, even if you're uneducated, if you work hard enough, try hard enough, have money, eventually, if you are a white man, you too can become part of the body politic. The Naturalization Act of 1790 locked this in. It said that citizenship was to be restricted to free white persons. And as you know from the start, equality and freedom were not available to everyone in the United States. It was reserved for wealthy white men who were property owners. But the idea that you too one day, as long as you were white, male, owned property, and could pass a literacy test, that you too one day could be a full part of that body politic, that promise is why George Ellipsis calls it an investment. But that promise, that idea that one day you too could have this is called the possessive investment in whiteness. That's the idea that even though you don't have power right now, in this moment, you could earn it through wealth or through your individual hard work. Again, as long as you were white. So here comes the part about why this was a social construction. Who is or was counted as white is not fixed. Germans, Irish, Italians, they weren't counted as white, at least not at first. They were discriminated from engaging in the labor market even into the 1940s and 50s. And Italians were segregated in Mexican schools in places like Southern California. Meanwhile, Japanese Americans and Mexican Americans also pursued inclusion into the category of white so that they too could participate in civic life.